Goosebumps is rated Y7 because it may be too spooky for kids under 7.
Alright, so here is a good one. So, this is the freaking kicker when it comes to Cuckoo Doom. Here's a freaking kicker. Eventually, some imperfection happened. And let's just say Anthony, since it's Anthony Antiques, he noticed it and said, okay, I'm marking it down. So, yeah, this comes to the point of where it's like it's a messed up paradox where it's like, okay, how does that work? And I kind of have a simple answer for it, but again, we're just gonna have to walk through it. So first things first, there is an imperfection in the clock. I have two things on this. It's an imperfection in the clock. He bought the clock. Michael actually changes the cuckoo that's on the clock and changes his head back. So he changes his head back, he goes back in time. He saves himself, but kicks 1988 off of it and turn it back. And then now we go to the present day, and it's like, well, we see the imperfection 1988 is missing. But it's like, well, if it was missing in the first place, then why wasn't Terra existing in the first place? It's like yeah, so here's my two things on this. Number one, there's another imperfection. There's like some ding or something that we didn't see in the first book, because in the first part of it, because it's like, yeah, they weren't going to examine it and be like, where's the imperfection? It's like, yeah. Two is that the imperfection was there of 1988's missing, but for it to activate, the person that is responsible for losing the piece actually has to go back in time. As soon as they do it, the effects actually take effect, which doesn't really make sense, but hey, I guess that works. I guess that freaking works. I'm not sure. But yeah, there you go. So the only part is that, so does that mean that the dude's an idiot? It's like, yeah, is Anthony an idiot? Where it's like, most likely the 1988 thing is somewhere around here. All you gotta do is slip it back in there and we're good to go. But apparently, I guess there was some brooming sometime, and then the brooming and being stupid, he threw it away, and he doesn't know that he threw it away, and that's why it's gone. The other cool part is that, well, what if he did find it and he was able to still keep it marked up? Well, then that means the whole time traveling thing doesn't happen, and that means Tara's still alive. But the interesting part is like, well, what if so many people used it before? And if they used it before, then it's like, well, then does that mean that they were able to actually just go back in time, take it off, go forward, then put it back in, and then it's like there's no biggie? Because it's like, yeah, whatever you wanted to get rid of, you got rid of, and then you're able to put it back in there, and it's like, well, no harm, no foul. The things you got rid of, and then it's like, yeah, so it's got rid of, put it back there, there we go, we're done. So it's like, for instance, that means that when it comes to the next video I have to make, does that mean that all the stuff that happens, the only thing that's affected when it comes to the Cuckoo Clock of Doom, touching it, is only affected when it comes to something in your life? So like, for instance, let's just say, crazy enough, I'm like doodly doodly doo doo, and I take 1994 off and put 1994 back in there. So 1994, basically I could have actually had a brother, but he died. So basically 1994, I just basically wiped it. So the fact of where he could have actually been existing and his existence there, that means that his existence wouldn't actually exactly exist, meaning that I wouldn't know that, oh, I could have had a brother, close to having a brother. That means that everything's wiped clean except I know, but there's no other evidence of it. That's kind of interesting. It's kind of like if someone actually did something messed up. Like, for instance, there was a murder. Yes, you killed the dude because he's a freaking nut job and no one believes you. And you're able to go to the Cuckoo Clock of Doom, able to go to the time of where he actually was born. Actually, I guess not really the time of he's born. It's more the fact of, if you go to the time of the murder, get rid of murder, put it back in, that means that most likely he still lives. But if he goes back and go to the day of his year of his birth, take it off, put it back in there, then that means that, yeah, so everything's wiped clean. All the friggin' murders that happened or whatever the friggin' jerk did, it's wiped clean. He doesn't exist. You're not gonna go to jail, and only people who knows about it is just you. It's like you know about that crazy nut job, and you know that there's many freaking victims that got killed, but thanks to you wiping him clean off. So that's the interesting part of like, how does the Cuckoo Clock of Doom work? And I do have to note, and Squid Jib did do this. It was, I think, give yourself goosebumps. There's one that actually does with another clock, and this clock is different. It's like this clock is different, even though it's like, well, why couldn't you guys do what you just did with Return to Terror Towers? Like, yeah, why couldn't you actually bring Cuckoo Clock of Doom into Give Yourself Goosebumps as well? Where it's like, yeah. Not to mention, R.L. Stine actually says that that was his favorite book, and it's kind of sucky where it's like it's his favorite book, but yet there's no sequel to it. But at least they give a nod to the Goosebumps movie where the Cuckoo Clock of Doom has been released. He released it, but it's an object, not a monster. An actual object. Might even be a, what was it called? It's an object that actually does have an intelligence. It's just that it can't actually do anything besides its effect. But of course, it can't do any of its effect unless you actually touch it. That's how it works. Yeah, it's too bad when it comes to the movies, they did not actually go for that idea, did they? They only just kind of did the haunted mask, but it wasn't that, yeah, it wasn't really that actually truthful. I'm going to say that like that. But yeah, I mean, the Cuckoo Clock of Doom, when it comes to its actual ability, and not to mention just the fact of the real topic at hand is, was the imperfection there to begin with, or was there a second imperfection, which is actually is the first imperfection, and they just notice that there's a second imperfection, and they don't even know that that's not an imperfection. That's just the second thing that happened. The first imperfection is somewhere still around the Cuckoo Clock that you don't know. And most likely it's not the freaking numbers missing. It's most likely some ding, some scratch. You know how it is. It's like when it comes to antiques and stuff, it's like one scratch ruins the whole entire thing. One freaking chip off of it ruins the whole thing. But considering the dad wanted it so badly and been wanting it for years, any ding or scratch that's there, he's most likely not going to even notice or going to ignore it because he's wanted it so badly. And it seems like it's like a small thing, like something very small. It's not like somewhere it's like a big freaking gash on it. And it's like, oh my gosh, you ruined it. You ruined it. Who did this? Instead, it's more like it's something small. It's something small, but the antique dude, the person who owns the store, he actually sees it as a big deal. And that's why he marked it down. It's either that or just Destiny knocks. And usually when Destiny knocks, especially when it comes to Goosebumps, and he's gonna most likely do something screwing you over. Yeah, it knocks on your door and it figure out some way to do it. That's about all. Yeah. Anyways, have a scary day. Have a scary night.